When capturing videos or photos, what format should I use? What format should the 99% of us use? Of course, we have JPEG, and it's only needed for cross-platform or older software or older device. I think the majority of us could probably do without it. TIFF, that's a format not supported really on the phone. It'll be like a third-party thing, so it's not something you want to use for recording, besides it becoming a very large file. So there are only a few formats that's supported. We have the HEIF, that's high efficiency image file. It records images, sequences like bursts, cinematograph, audio, and video streams. And then we have HEIC, that's high efficiency image container. And it's primarily used for photos. It uses the HEVC H.265 codecs for best quality and file size. Then we have the HEVC, high efficiency video coding. It offers 35 to 50% better compression than the H.264. So allowing for the same quality at a lower bit rate or better quality at the same bit rate. And of course it supports 8K and HDR content. HDR content is very important. We'll talk about that. Then we have the Apple ProRAW for photos and Apple ProRes for videos. Oh, I was going to show you something. Some people aren't aware, or they missed the point that if you touch this little camera, you can switch from photos, videos, portraits, and things of that sort. And when you select the settings, you get all these formats: JPEG, HEIF, TIFF, RAW, RAW plus JPEG, RAW plus HEIF, ProRAW. Which one do we choose? Definitely would not recommend the JPEG and TIFF. Okay, let's continue. If you don't want to spend a day from a trip doing video or photo processing, then we don't need the ProRAW or the ProRes. Time, cost, storage issues, and if it's for personal use, just to capture memories from a trip, for example, why bother putting that pressure on top of you? Okay, the iPhone Pro 17 offers three formats: the HEIF, which has some sub-supports, I guess, if you want to call it, JPEG, and Apple ProRAW, ProRes, all the same thing. TIFF is not supported by Apple, so I would avoid it unless you need it for some reason. The standard photo format by default is HEIF, high efficiency image file. It's recommended because it creates smaller files but provides better or equal image quality than JPEG, and it's roughly half the size of JPEG file. So unless you're dealing with older equipment, you can forget JPEG. HEIF supports 16-bit color depth and features like transparency, live photos, and saves you space without sacrificing quality. If you see an option called HDR, high dynamic range, this is not a format, but it's an on-device processing that happens behind the scenes for photos and videos. It will take multiple exposures at different brightness levels and dark shadows and combines it to create a single image with a more balanced and realistic look. It is enabled by default and is good for most situations, especially landscapes or scenes with high contrast. Yeah, it's something you definitely don't want to turn off, and you may have to change the frame rate. For example, if using 4K at 60 frames, you need an external SSD, but if you drop it down to 30 frames, then you can do it within your phone. The only time you would use it if you're shooting silhouettes or very fast-moving subjects to remove possible artifacts. So you can turn off that option. You do have the option of 24 and 48 megapixels resolution. For picture taking, I like to use 48 megapixels, as I often use larger displays and landscape scenery is my interest. Anyways, the result, the final image is saved as either HEIF, JPEG, or ProRAW, giving you a higher dynamic range that is more resembles what the human eye sees, with richer color and contrast. To view the image, you need an HDR display, like the iPhone 17 Pro Max screen, because they can provide the increased brightness and color depth. So depending on what device you're monitoring, you may not see much difference. So keep that in mind. Your monitor. I kind of find it funny when I hear people arguing that this brand is better than that brand video, and they're comparing it on a monitor not capable of showing its full capacity. It's just that their software OS is probably doing a better job of presenting it in a JPEG format. So don't get involved in that type of testing unless you have the proper format or monitor, I should say. Like all interests, especially hobbies, you progress. You've accomplished what you wanted initially, and then you're curious, or you may want to see if you can do better than what you're doing. You may not ever use it, but you like to understand it. So yeah, then you can consider the Apple ProRAW. ProRAW, I believe, is a DNG format. Keep in mind it's 10 to 12 times larger than HEIF or JPEG. And there's an option for lossless or nearly lossless raw data. And what's nice about the DNG format is it's compatible with software like Adobe, Lightroom, and Photoshop. So if you don't have these programs, check if the one you're interested in supports DNG. And you do have the option of 12 or 48 megapixels resolutions. For video, then it's the Apple ProRes. It's a professional video codec designed for high quality video editing. Yeah, expect large files, and you'll need an external storage card. You may need several, depending on how deep you go into this. I'm in the 99%. I'm not in the 1%. So, in conclusion, what I've decided on, and I think most will probably find this to be the case for them, with variations, because everybody has slightly different interests. I would use either HEIF, HEIC, or HEVC. Doesn't matter, depending on how photos or videos or whatever, at 30 or 60 frames per second. I always would use HDR. However, when shooting at 60 frames, at 4K, it won't be available unless you record to an external SSD. So I guess I would go 4K and 30 frames per second. Especially if you're using a tripod or you're not zooming in. If you are zooming in, then be sure to have the stabilization on. Use a tripod or a gimbal. Or maybe you have to give up HDR and go 60 frames. It just depends. Or carry an SSD drive with you that you can plug in. So, we got the stabilization figured out. I think we got the formats figured out. So when you do an app, whether it be like Pro Camera or Final Cut or the Apple or even Blackmagic, you kind of have an idea what you're going to select. You know what you want now. So the rest is really improving your skill of taking pictures and setting up the way you want to set it. I know some people, they like to create eye candy in their photos. I never cared for that. I want to take a picture and take it the way I see it with my eyes. That would be my minimum requirement. Yeah, it's fun if you're recording a bit of waterfalls or something like that and you have the fuzzy flow. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It's not pleasing for me when I'm watching the pictures as I'm working in front of my computer and it pops up and I see this fuzzy waterfall. It's not realistic for me, right? It doesn't have the same impact. Oh, that was great. I remember that. It was really nice, that particular period. Again, this is a personal choice. If you like, eye candy in your photos, whether it be softening it or sharpening it than what you're actually seeing with your eyes, or maybe bringing out clouds that you couldn't see with your eyes, or vice versa, that's a choice you can do, and you can add some accessories like ND filters or variable ND filters, and I like to avoid accessories as much as possible. Only get them when you need it if I cannot capture the picture the way I see it. Hopefully this was informative for you. I thought I'd share what I came across, and it would be appreciated if you haven't done so. Thumbs up and subscribe. I guess depending on the feedback will determine how much more I'm going to talk about this. I know there is one device I want to talk about, and that's the gimbal. In some ways, I love the gimbal I got, but I am disappointed very much with the software. That'll be another video. Take care and have a nice day. If you haven't done so, it would be appreciated. Please subscribe. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.